Joining us now from a polling station in Philadelphia, NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander, who's covering the Harris campaign. And from West Palm Beach, Florida, NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard with the Trump camp. Peter, we'll start with you. What are you hearing from the Harris team this morning?
Well, good morning to you guys on this election day. We are finally seeing folks with a little in-person game day line arriving here early. Polls open up across the state of Pennsylvania at 7 o'clock this morning. I'll tell you, I've had a series of conversations with Harris folks over the course of the last 24 hours, and much like we've heard from Kamala Harris herself, they are feeling particularly good. I was struck by a conversation I had with a Harris ally who formerly served on the Clinton campaign for Hillary Clinton in 2016, who said in those waning days leading up to the election, back then they felt like they were losing altitude after James Comey's announcement, among other things. But right now that it feels very different, they feel like they are still rising. Frankly, this person said to me, if this election were in another week, we think we'd do even better. But they feel, as Harris herself has said, particularly good right now. And you really had a sense of that last night as she was there on the Rocky Steps in front of the Art Library here in Philadelphia. Harris herself saying it was a tribute to someone who starts as the underdog and climbs up to victory. Tens of thousands of people in attendance, and they got there early with paraphernalia, all of their gear, with a sense that they were witnessing history. For some moms who had their daughters on their shoulders, history that had been delayed. What was striking to me in particular is that Harris really hasn't leaned into the historic nature of this campaign over the course of the last many weeks. She hasn't talked about the potential to being the first female American president. But last night, some of her top surrogates, Oprah Winfrey among them, did, saying, yes, she can, that the crowd joined her in repeating before will.i.am saying a new riff. Yes, she can, much like yes, he can, that he delivered before the 2008 campaign for Barack Obama there. Another Harris ally telling me going into today they would rather be in her heels than in his shoes. So really there is a sense of confidence they're projecting right now, and a lot of it is because of what they've already seen as they've been on the ground. 90,000 volunteers, as you know well, knocking on more than 3 million doors across the battleground states, and Harris herself joining that effort just yesterday in Reading, Pennsylvania, doing a little bit of surprise door knocking as well. And you were talking about the Madison Square Garden rally, about how some of the Puerto Rican vote they feel strongly is leaving Trump, if it was supporting Trump before, coming to Harris right now. She drove an hour out of her way, making a detour from Allentown to Reading yesterday with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to go to a Puerto Rican restaurant, hoping to really hammer home that point on a state that has a huge block of Puerto Rican voters, many of whom say they're planning to support Harris's go-round.
All right, and Vice President Harris will watch the results come in from her alma mater, Howard University in Washington today. NBC's Peter Alexander, busy day ahead in Philadelphia. Peter, thanks so much. Let's turn now to Vaughn Hilliard. He's, of course, covering Donald Trump. Vaughn, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Willie. So it begins here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump has returned after his final rally last night in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is where he will, alongside former First Lady Melania Trump, be voting in a matter of hours in Palm Beach before making his way back to Mar-a-Lago, where I'm told he's going to be holding down with campaign advisors and other allies. Roger Stone, one of those, for example, telling me he will be at Mar-a-Lago this evening before making their way potentially to the West Palm Beach Convention Center, where the gathered press and other supporters, they're expecting thousands of them, will convene for election night festivities. And we very well could see Donald Trump tonight. But this is a moment here for this campaign where a reckoning has played out over the course of the last week. That Donald Trump, in the fashion that we have become accustomed to, became his freewheeling self in the most vulnerable, transparent of ways, suggesting at a campaign rally here this weekend that he would put Herschel Walker in charge of a U.S. defense shield system. He has openly said that he would put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of healthcare policy in the United States, even overseeing vaccines. He has openly suggested, as he did last night, that he's 95% confident he's going to win this election. And he has said that he would win California if there were real vote counters. This here is a moment for this campaign where I was talking with a key Trump campaign battleground source who was telling me that 1 week ago there was much higher confidence about where they found themselves positioning wise, especially with the first several weeks of early voting coming in. They said that they saw lower propensity voters that haven't even voted in the last 2 presidential elections, were turning out in a greater share than they had previously. Yet what they watched was their candidate come out uncensored, begin to make questionable decisions in terms of the rhetoric that he used, denigrating Kamala Harris's low IQ, calling Nancy Pelosi a crazy sick person, going on the attack against his former generals, Milley and Mattis and John Kelly. And the battleground source was telling me they were already in a deficit when it came to the ground operation that you guys were talking to, telling me specifically that this campaign this go around in the key battleground states had half the resources that they did in 2020. So instead of knocking on every door in a neighborhood, they were having to choose 1 or 2 doors to knock on, and they were at a disadvantage. And if they were to win tonight, it would be because of the MAGA grassroots support that Donald Trump has built over the last 9 years. But that is putting a lot on Donald Trump and the movement and the supporters, especially those that didn't even show up in 2016 or 2020, guys.